I think the year that we've had has forced a lot of automotive businesses to change how they see digital transformation. I like many industries as well, to be fair. They've been sort of given that kickstart, you need to change now or you will get left behind.
Why do you think they've struggled in the past? What do you think is the key reason for them not being able to do that?
I think there's two angles with automotive in particular. One, it's the people probably involved in automotive at the time, how businesses have been set up, very much a sales-orientated industry. It's sometimes been difficult, I think, to evolve at the pace of other industries, such as the travel industry, let's say, and hospitality. However, I think the biggest challenge is the complexity of the products that we sell. So when you buy your car, do you buy a new, a nearly new, a used? Do you buy a certain brand? Do you go local? Do you go national? Is the price important? I mean, there's so many different variables to a user as to what car to buy. And they don't necessarily know the answers when they decide they need a new car. No. So the complexity of that makes it very difficult from an online point of view to give every single user everything they need on a website or on a third-party listing provider or whatever it may be. So I think it's scared a lot of businesses and think, oh, it's too much of a big change. This has worked for us in the past. We've made lots of money. We've grown to this size. Let's just keep it like that and play it safe.
Yeah, and kind of remain comfortable, I suppose.
Yeah. One thing we've all done is woken up to the possibility of businesses just falling apart, especially small businesses. It's just very scary.
And also businesses that perhaps felt very, very secure.
Exactly.
I know people who have lost, unfortunately, tragically lost their businesses or lost a lot of work through it. And previously, you just could never expect that in a million years. Hello and welcome to the Armchair show, where I'm joined by Owen Gill. Owen, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you, very well.
Not too bad journey today, fairly close for you, wasn't it, I think?
Not too bad. So being based in the central part of the country, we're quite easily accessible to most places, so not too bad.
Well, thanks for coming along, really appreciate it. And obviously you're from Pendragon, and I believe the congratulations are on the cards because you've got a new position, I believe. Yeah,
so this week starting a new role at the group, head of digital transformation. It's like an evolution to the role I was doing previously, which was head of digital marketing. It's really exciting, actually. There's loads of opportunities for the group. I'm very lucky to be given the role as well. So I'll play a key part in taking the group forward from a digital side.
Awesome. And it's so the official title is Head of Digital Transformation, if I can say that word. What is digital transformation?
Well, I suppose it's exactly what it describes. It's to ensure that our online offering, mainly, is constantly evolving for our customers, making sure we're giving them exactly what they need at different levels of their car buying experience, whether it's a research phase, a transactional phase. We know where we are as a business. What we offer today is relatively strong, but we also know there's loads of opportunities available to us. So it's my responsibility, alongside the CMO and the CEO, to deliver the group's vision. Now, we have a really strong team around us as well for digital marketing, website development, etc. So it really is a matter of us finding the opportunities and taking hold of them as well.
Excellent. And do you think the industry is struggling with digital transformation?
I think it had been, yes. I think over years, automotive has been criticised. I mean, I've openly criticised it as well when I worked with business at different industries. I think the year that we've had has forced a lot of automotive businesses to change how they see digital transformation. I like many industries as well, to be fair. They've been sort of given that kickstart, you need to change now or you will get left behind. So yes, historically they have struggled. There will be struggles ahead, absolutely. And I think those that adapt quickest and understand they need to change will be the ones who will win in this journey.
Why do you think they've struggled in the past? What do you think is the key reason for them not being able to do that?
I think there's two angles with automotive in particular. One, it's the people probably involved in automotive at the time, how businesses have been set up, very much a sales-orientated industry. It's sometimes been difficult, I think, to evolve at the pace of other industries, such as the travel industry, let's say, and hospitality. However, I think the biggest challenge is the complexity of the products that we sell. So when you buy your car, do you buy a new, a nearly new, a used? Do you buy a certain brand? Do you go local? Do you go national? Is the price important? I mean, there's so many different variables to a user as to what car to buy. And they don't necessarily know the answers when they decide they need a new car. No. So the complexity of that makes it very difficult from an online point of view to give every single user everything they need on a website or on a third-party listing provider or whatever it may be. So I think it's scared a lot of businesses and think, oh, it's too much of a big change. This has worked for us in the past. We've made lots of money. We've grown to this size. let's just keep it like that and play it safe.
Yeah, and kind of remain comfortable, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think you've, as alluded to there, it's tricky for the customer as well, isn't it? There's so many different ways you can buy a car now. I think I last bought my car, 2 years ago, and I'm quite traditional, so I'll actually go for a test drive and go and talk to the salespeople. But is there a right way to buy a car now?
No. Well, there isn't for everyone, but every single person will have a right way in their mind how they want to purchase it. So whether they want to completely transact online, whether they, like yourself, want to go to a dealership and actually do a test drive. I'm the same. Even though I'm very digital focused with my role and my career, I still like the tangible sort of benefits of going to a dealership and feeling the car, driving it, getting that experience. But I'm a sample size of one, so everyone likes to transact at different levels. Some people like to do the research online, some people like to talk to someone face to face, and it depends on how they feel comfortable. So there's absolutely no right way, but it definitely is a right way for an individual, and they will only know it.
Yeah, that must be such a challenge for salespeople, particularly the salespeople, and this probably speaks for most of them really, who are used to dealing with people in person. Obviously, we now have that added complication, if you want to call it that, of doing Zoom meetings with or kind of Zoom. Can you demo a car? Can you demo a car remotely? Is that possible?
So what we've done at Pendragon, you used to have, we still do as well, virtual test drives upon request. So if especially this year, which has made it very difficult for some people to leave the properties they live in, they are interested in a vehicle, they don't want to necessarily go to a dealership, they can request a virtual test drive, which means the sales executive will do a walk around of the video of the car. They'll explain to the customer what they're buying, what they're interested in, and answer any questions they may have, which appeases their needs and gives them exactly what they want. So there is a way of demonstrating a car virtually, but as we know, it's not like sitting behind the wheel. But again, only the customer can decide then at that point what they actually are willing to do. Yeah.
What would your advice be to salespeople who are a bit nervous of that? Because I totally understand that. I think if you've been so used to people walking into the showroom like I did 2 years ago, if they're suddenly popping up on your screen, what's your advice to salespeople that perhaps find that a little bit unnerving?
I suppose it's anything with a screen. I mean, even today, even myself, I think a screen is a bit of a different environment. But one thing you've got to do as a sales executive is understand that customer is still the same customer that would have walked through the door. You just happen to be presented on the screen. They're going to have the same questions, they're going to have the same needs, they're going to have the same concerns. So treat them exactly the same. And maybe it's easier said than done. I'm not a sales executive, so I don't necessarily know the challenges they will face. But it's only a matter of time before they get used to that way of working. And these sales executives in their personal lives will start communicating through screens to their friends, family. So it'll become the norm for them like it is for all of us as well.
True.
So I think over time, and I don't think it'll take too long, they'll get so used to that level of communication. I think it's good as well. It helps them evolve as well as professionals as well.
Definitely. I guess, is it fair to say it's all about linking that offline world and the online world? So, and how do you make that transition as simple as possible?
It's so tough, and this goes back to the complexity of the product and the thousands of customers we serve every year. They all have different ways of wanting to deal with us, and they will go from the online to the offline environment at different stages as well.
So they hop in and out, don't they, all over the place?
Absolutely. Gone are the days where, this is the car I think I want. You'll go into 6 dealerships, test drive several, and then you'll pick one. A lot of times someone will walk into a dealership, they've already done all their research, they will go in with a really strong knowledge of the product they want, and there's no real movement there. And they know exactly, even a lot of times they'll know what finance package they're actually after as well. So they're coming well educated, but again, that's not the same for everyone. So bridging that gap between on and offline is very difficult. But this is one of the big opportunities we've got. We're very lucky in a way that we've got a new CEO and a new CMO from America, and they have different ways of working, and there's definitely benefits in terms of how that operation works over there. Some real good examples they brought to the UK to explain to us in terms of how they do it. So what we're trying to do now is take the opportunities that present themselves from that side and see what we can actually implement in our operating model here. And from a digital side, that's where I would try and influence most.
What's one of the key things you've learned from overseas? Anything you've taken in particular that's made a difference? So
one thing that I found so interesting was the logistics side of things. Obviously, with both CEO and CMO coming from America, logistics and movement of vehicles is actually really interesting. It's not something I get involved in at all. But being British and versus what the operation model they've got over in the States is so different.
I can imagine. Why is that? Is that literally the distances involved? Or?
Yeah, I believe so. So I had a conversation with my CMO for the company she used to work for about if someone was living in Texas and they wanted a vehicle in California, it wasn't too much of an issue. They'll simply get the car, shift it, and there it is. In the UK, I think maybe it's because of how we are as British people. I think, that's 2 hours away. I'm not going to go and get that car now.
Like Warwickshire from Northampton.
Yeah, it's just too much of it.
45 minutes, that's way too long. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's one of the things we are learning as well, the cultural differences between American customers versus British customers is so different as well. But what some of those customers are willing to accept versus what our customers are willing to accept is very different as well. So even though these are opportunities, we also need to consider it as how these markets behave differently as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about just going back to yourself, really, Owen, we're fascinated by the journeys people take to get into the industry. And to be honest, virtually every single person who's been on the show has either fallen into the automotive industry as a happy accident. It's very rarely been planned, really. What's your journey been?
So I am actually in marketing. I'm educated in marketing.
Okay.
So that's what I studied at university. I then went to, I went to work for a plumbing and heating business in Nottingham, a local business. Yep. And I always say they were most two important years of my career, and there always will be. I'll probably get to the age of 65 or 75 and retire. And then
Keeps
I'll
getting
look,
longer, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'll look back at them 2 years and think that's what stabilised my career. I learned so much from that job. Yep. More about what not to do in the world of work.
At the plumbing
business.
Yeah.
I met some great people, great ways of working, but also I also learned some things I shouldn't be doing as well. Okay. Since I've been at university, I've worked for 10 years or so now. So I've had different bosses who've had different skills, different weaknesses as well. And I've learned a lot from each one of them, regardless of how good or bad they are. Yeah. Leadership skills are absolutely something that I hold passionately. I hold passionately to myself, and I always like to think the people I look after, I want to look after. Yeah. I'm a big believer in you don't manage, you lead, and that's the core skill that I've got from a lot of my leaders already so far. Okay. The fact is, you can tell someone to do something if you wanted to do, but in reality, they can probably do it better than you. And there's a few quotes of Steve Jobs. We don't employ.
I'm just thinking of that.
Yeah, we don't employ smart people to tell them what to do. We employ them to tell us what to do. Toto Wolff, team principal at Mercedes, he's very much in the same sort of mould. He says, I can't drive a car quick. I can't design an aerodynamic wing. But my responsibility is to give those people who can do those jobs the best environment to succeed. And that's exactly how I see it. And that's how a lot of my leaders, I've either learned from them how to do that or the pitfalls of how I wouldn't end up doing that if I took out some of their actions as well. So it's something I hold a lot of passion towards. I'm a digital marketer. Am I the most digitally focused person you'll ever meet? No, absolutely not. Am I the most technically skilled? No, I'm absolutely not. There's people in my team who are far more technically minded than I am. But giving them the right environment to succeed is something that is my job and my aim to do. Yeah,
definitely. You certainly sound very passionate about it. What's your favourite thing about working in the industry?
I do like cars, I think that helps. When I came to Pendragon the first time around, because this is my second stint there, I was a content writer. Okay. I found out I wasn't a very good one, so I moved into more of an analytics-based role. Okay. Around biddable media, so advertising side of things. But my love for cars is again, I'm not the most savvy, knowledgeable person regarding cars, but I do like them. I do like driving them. And I work for an automotive company, and I'm very lucky to get a very nice car to drive on a day-to-day basis. But also, Pendragon excites me. I'm quite passionate towards the Midlands, and Pendragon has given a lot to the Midlands over the last couple of decades. It's a fantastic employer. So again, as a business, I'm passionate about it. I've met some great friends as well while I've been there. People I manage today or lead today, people I've met in the past who have now moved on. I've met some really wonderful people and people I stay in touch with today as well. So as a whole, Pendragon has given me a lot in my career so far. And it's very much a Google approach, but you only come back to the same business once, and I've done that with Pendragon. And there's a reason why I came back as well, because I actually really enjoy working there.
They were doing something right, weren't they, in that case?
Absolutely.
And outside of Pendragon, you do, am I right in saying you've done some mentoring?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I didn't think you were going to bring that up, actually. So I do mentor, and I guest lecture at my former university, Nottingham Trent. Specifically around digital marketing. Okay. I think. So from the lecturing side, one of the big gaps in traditional marketing degrees is the digital focus. And some of the course leaders I've spoken to in the past is that they struggle to get the experience, real life experience in digital, to educate their students on it. Okay. So bringing in professionals who have current experience is definitely beneficial to them. So I do a bit of that. And the mentoring side of things, I do speak to a lot of either MA students or BA students who have got an education or again an education in marketing. They're looking for their next step. They're looking for a little bit of career advice as well. Someone who's been down that journey, I think I've gathered a little bit of experience which can help them. And I'm very lucky to have mentored some awesome people. They've gone on to get great jobs. One not far from here, actually, Northampton. Okay. Really smart guy. And I think there's nothing more fulfilling as a professional and as a mentor to see them go and succeed. And it is a bit cliche, but it is great. And as a parent as well, because I'm a parent, you want your kids to do that. So when you mentor fellow students, you think, great, they're going off, they're finding the fee,
leaving the nest and actually making something.
Absolutely.
With all that experience, what's your advice to people who are looking at the industry from the outside and perhaps they want to get into it, or maybe they're watching this now and they're thinking, yeah, I'm up for this, but I'm a little bit unsure. Firstly, where to go? I think because the industry has changed so much, and going back to the digital transformation side of things, again, I always forget the stat here, but I know that the last 6 months, we won't go into, everyone knows the reason why, has forced digital transformation. Yeah. I think you've referred to this yourself, in a very short amount of time that would have probably taken years previously. That means we've got an industry that's very different at the moment. So if for someone looking in, what would your advice be to them about how to get in and how to make the most of it?
I think look at automotive industry not like you would have looked at it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people had an opinion of the automotive industry. There are certain stigmas against the automotive industry. And although it's been a horrendous year, the one thing we have learned over this year is that the more traditional industries typically are having to change. Yep. So if you are a marketer, you have a background in finance or education in finance or whatever it may be, if it's a specialism, the automotive industry is less of a tough nut to crack into, I think now. And a lot of them stigmas aren't necessarily true either about the automotive industry. There's wonderful opportunities for professionals in this area. Whether you have a background in sales, that's absolutely fine. But those niche sort of skills like finance, marketing, operations, logistics, there's some great opportunities in automotive. And it will change as well. It's not going anywhere. People still have cars. It's still a commonly purchased product. So it's not, like it is not going anywhere. Yeah. But there's loads of opportunities available for especially some of the bigger businesses like ourselves. Yeah, it's just evolved, hasn't it, really, I think. And do you think, lastly, do you think that what's happened this year, is it a flash in the pan in terms of some of the changes, or are we on course now for this being it, basically? I think this is it. I think, again, for a lot of industries, what's happened this year, we can't take for granted what's happened, that it's going to go revert back to normal, because God forbid this happens again, but it could happen. And I think one thing we've all done is woken up to the possibility of businesses just falling apart, especially small businesses, which is very scary. And also businesses that perhaps felt very, very secure. Exactly. I know people who have lost, unfortunately, tragically lost their businesses or lost a lot of work through it. And previously, you just could never expect that in a million years. Absolutely. It's how vulnerable we are as business and people. We've never experienced anything like this, I don't think, especially not in my generation. Yeah. So I think it is here to stay. We've woken up to say, don't take tomorrow for granted, because it's okay today, because it may not be. And we really don't know what's around the corner now, especially after this year. That's proved that, hasn't it? Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I suppose ending on a positive note, what are you most looking forward to over the next few years? For me, it's to really start to understand our customers' journey and taking the opportunity to look after our customers, our existing customers. Again, automotive's got stigmas, it's all about new. We've got a wonderful customer base at this moment in time. People keep coming back to us time after time again. It's ensuring that we give them exactly what they need. Yep. And there's loads of opportunities there. Uncovering opportunities, what some of our competitors do very well, which other businesses in other industries do very well, and how we can adopt their approach to a customer-centric sort of marketing plan. Yep. Again, we can adopt some of that and things that are relevant for us. No, definitely. And how have you found today the experience being on the Armchair show? It's great, actually. I've just explained just before that people from Mansfield don't tend to get invited to podcasts because we have a very a neutral accent, and because I've got a very monotone voice. Again, it's I think it's nice to have some different accents on the show. Actually, absolutely. Well, I wasn't expecting to be told that. I was expecting just vary your levels a little bit, but no, I've actually really enjoyed it, and the premises itself is wonderful. It's very interesting to come to an agency environment that is in the middle of a British countryside. It's typically you'd be in a city, a tall building. It'd be very, very corporate. But no, this is absolutely lovely, and having an American boss as well, showing her what's quintessentially British. You don't get much more than this, do you? No, absolutely not. Yeah. Absolutely not. Owen, it's been great talking. We could chat. It's gone ever so quickly, 20 minutes, but we could chat all day, I'm sure, about these topics, and we'll definitely have you on at some point in the future. Hopefully, we'll be in the main studio at some stage. That would be good. Absolutely. But no, thank you so much for your insight. It's been great. No, pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invite. No problem. And if anything Owen has said today has resonated with you, particularly if you're looking to get into the industry, please do share this episode, because I'm sure people around you will find it interesting. And just remember to subscribe as well, so you don't miss a single episode. And until next time, we'll see you then. Thank you.